Welcome everyone, it's great to be here. It's amazing to see so many faces in this room. We had 200 last year, I think this year we've got up to 400, which is a great step up. Pardon? 500, well there you go. It's a tribute to the organisers, our supporters, the Victorian Government, all the sponsors. Thank you, but also thank you to you guys in the room. I mean, we're here as a group to help redefine the face of construction. And the only way we're going to do that effectively is if we all kind of chip in and do it. The good news is, though, that Australia really is at the forefront of innovation globally, and that's really demonstrated by our productivity growth. We're really leading the world when it comes to productivity growth, and that's because we're innovative. Now, you know, I get to travel the world a fair bit, and the way that we work together, the way we think about things really is unique. And uniqueness tends to be a bit of a competitive advantage. So that's, I think, something that we really should hold on to. I'm not sure what's going on outside. But you know, if you look back over Aconix's history, we started 17 years ago. And the word cloud wasn't even a word. It wasn't a word. SaaS didn't really exist as a word. I mean, for crying out loud, we had dial-up modems in our first office. We didn't even have an ADSL. And it wasn't even one per desk. We had to share it. So when someone wanted to check their email, they had to disconnect somebody else and reconnect somebody else. But that was 17 years ago. You fast forward to today, and we've got this explosion of digital tech for construction, just for construction. And that's been driven by, you know, increasing complexity of project delivery, increasing complexity of projects, compressed timelines, and kind of this desire to improve. Everyone in the industry is trying to improve. So I think Australia can really look at themselves as digital innovators when it comes to construction. But today, what we've got is an opportunity to come together, to discuss challenges, to share stories, to try and come up with solutions, which is always the fun bit. But we've got some great speakers. We've got the ACA, the GIC. We've got a bunch of great speakers here today. But don't just be kind of, you know, placid sitting in the audience. Make sure that you're you're either a driver or a cheerleader. Make sure you're one of those two. Because out of this, hopefully, we can make a dent in this thing that we're trying to do, which is to try and change the face of the industry. So, what do we believe? There's just a few thoughts I want to share with you. First of all, we truly believe that the opportunity is really, really right. It's here, it's now, it's ready for us to kind of grasp onto. And why is that? Well, there's four main reasons. One is the market is freaking huge. It's enormous. Like, it's big and it's growing and it's getting bigger and it's global. So the opportunity of the market size is big. Plus, you've got increasing complexity. The way the projects are being delivered is getting more and more complex. They're either getting mega, or they're getting more distributed globally, or they're getting compressed, or they're having more parties involved. Whatever it is, projects are getting more complex, and so having to manage that in new and innovative ways. But we've also got, traditionally, the IT spend in the industry is awful, like sub 1%. It's second only to hunting and fishing when it comes to IT spend, which is kind of embarrassing. I'm not sure what hunting and fishing actually spend IT on, but nonetheless, we're about the same as them. And finally, we've got this perfect storm of digital disruption or tech disruption that's coming out, whether it be like the cloud, which has been around for a while now, but mobility and BIM and AR and VR and AI and machine learning, all those kind of bits of tech that are coming in that we can then leverage to solve problems. It's that perfect storm of all those things coming together, which mean that the opportunity is here, the opportunity is now, and we are at the front of all of this. And we've got the opportunity globally to really lead and change the face of construction. But saying's not enough. We really need to make some bold changes. And I think we can really look to manufacturing as a bit of an example of, you know, how we could maybe solve that problem. The manufacturing industry has streaked ahead over the last decades, while construction's really, as a whole, globally, lagged behind. And they've done that because they've digitised their processes, they've standardised, they've reduced waste, they've controlled the environment to make sure the quality and safety are increased. They've done a range of things that have really set themselves apart, and you end up with this kind of growth and productivity that strips ahead of the general economy, but also then at the same time we've got the construction market which lags way behind. But they haven't done that by eliminating choice. In fact, when it comes to consumer goods, there's probably more choice than there's ever been. So standardisation of process does not mean less choice for consumers or less output. Sometimes people think that that means either lower quality, like it means prefab low quality, which I don't think's valid anymore. But also people think that it means less choice for consumers, which is not it. But they've done that because they've invested. They've invested in technology. They've invested in processes. They've standardised, and they then use that to learn every time. Learning, the continual improvement loop, is a key part of standardisation. Standardising and keeping it the same isn't going to get you very far. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Those that invest get returns. And this is some interesting data that came out during this year, and I just want to walk you through this because it's a bit of data. If you look up the vertical axis, what you've got there is productivity per worker, right? And there's an international average. So anybody above that line is better than average when it comes to productivity, and anybody below that line is below average, surprisingly. And then on the horizontal axis, what you've got is productivity growth, change in productivity over the last 2 decades. So anybody north of zero, they're growing. Anybody south of zero, their productivity is going backwards. And so what that means is all the countries that are up there in that top left quadrant are good but going backwards. And all the ones up in the top right are good and getting better. And surprise, surprise, the countries that are in that green box are all the countries that have typically been early adopters of technology when it comes to construction. Look where Australia is. Australia is like way out in front when it comes to productivity improvement. We've had to do that because we're a relatively small economy, we've got high labour costs, we've had to really innovate and improve to kind of stay competitive. And really, I think you should look at that. Everyone in this room has really contributed to that stat, and so it should be a bit of a warm, fuzzy feeling. And it also means that we're able to take our knowledge and our skill out to the rest of the world and help really influence the way the construction is done globally. So this idea of standardisation and continuous improvement, I think what we can do is leverage these scary things of AI and machine learning that people kind of don't maybe know what it is or think it means people lose their jobs, and actually use that for the right purposes, because it's with that kind of thing that we can actually move ahead. We can use these systems to standardise, to get better quality, to get safer environments, to get more repeatable. And the other thing is we can do is with all this data that's starting to come out of these projects and these systems, we need machines to help us make sense of that stream of data, that stream of information that's coming out there. Because if we don't make sense of it, we can't improve our processes. We have a bunch of people in the industry who are really good at their job, like project managers, for example, who are really experienced and just know what's going on. But effectively what they're doing is they're working on intuition, which is another word for experience that you can't quite put your finger on, right? So these guys are really good, they know what's going on, they know what pitfalls there are, but then the next people that come in, the young crowd, they kind of have to make the same mistakes to get to that same level of experience. And we kind of think that's okay somehow, but we should be leveraging up all this learning so that when new people come in, they're not having to go through the same mistakes that everybody's gone through before. And also, why humans really should be doing these high-value jobs. We shouldn't be out there doing admin and mundane tasks. We should be out there making sure quality is high, making sure people are safe, actually lifting the bar, looking for ways to improve, innovating rather than actually sitting there, typing in metadata or, trying to pull together data and make sense of it. Machines can do that for us. Let them do that kind of crunching and that hard work while we lift ourselves up and do the innovation and the change management. There's just a story about a client that's, I think, really challenging themselves in the industry when it comes to how they construct. And I can't mention their name because they're a bit sensitive about that, but they're a company that builds cars and batteries in a really, really big factory. So you might know who that is. And they're treating construction like the manufacturing process that they're going through. They're not trying to go, this is how things are done. They're questioning everything, iterating, refining, changing and improving. And they shared with us some stats recently where they looked at their RFI process and they thought it was pretty crap because they're up at 20 days, and then they started using systems to try and standardise it and improve it. And they went from 20-day turnaround on average to 0.79 days, 0.79 days, which is like mind-blowing about how far they can improve their process, so that people on average are waiting a month to get a response, to now they're getting a response same day. And that's the kind of thing which I think can really change the face of how people do projects. But you've got to think about it as a manufacturing process and improve construction in that way. But really, we also think that the strength we are as a group, that's kind of why we've pulled together this summit together with all the other sponsors, is we truly believe that we are stronger together. The strength in numbers is how it works. You know, I go around and I see what's going on in the rest of the world, and I come back here and I'm inspired by what everyone in this room is doing, the way they're questioning, the way they're trying to improve. You know, Australia, as I said before, we are world leaders, we are innovators, we're out in front now, we really can take this bull by the horns, the opportunity is there for us. But we do this best through working together. If we're fighting against each other or we're not collaborating, that's when we start to not get the full benefit of all the things we're trying to do. So, hopefully the Australian ecosystem, tech ecosystem, which we're all part of, we're going to help change the face of construction. So today, I think the only thing I would ask you to do is engage, share, collaborate, and if we do that, I think we will